This video will show you how to output tiling data from ToposPro into 3DT. Then we'll go through visualizing the tile structures that you've generated. In a previous video demonstrating ADS, I turned on the option Essential Rings for 3DT. This is what enables ToposPro to actually write out data in a format for 3DT. So if I press OK and run my calculation here, this first prompt that appears is related to 3DT. You'll notice the file extension .cgd. This is the file extension you need to look for when opening data in 3DT. And this prompt can be a little bit misleading, so when it says overwrite, if you say yes, then it will completely overwrite the file. When you actually say no, it won't create a new file, it will append the new structure to the file. So this way you can make 3DT files that have multiple structures inside them. So I'll do that as an example now. I'll create one with AEI, then I'll add CHA, and then I'll add LTA as well. So I'll overwrite it the first time. The rest of these I'll just press yes to. Calculate the tiling as we usually do. Then I'll move on to CHA. I'll follow the same procedure, but this time I'll say no to overwrite. I'll run through the tiling as usual. Then I will add LTA also. Again, I'll say no to overwrite. Then calculate the tiling. Now we should have a CGD file which contains the AEI framework, the CHA framework, and the LTA framework. So now we need to open this file in 3DT. If you don't already have 3DT, you can download it from this website here, gavrog.org. Click download the software, and it'll take you to a GitHub page where you can download 3DT. So if you click this link here, it'll then direct you to download the Gavrog project, which also installs Systra, but 3DT is included here. You may need to have Java installed on your computer when you download the software. In 3DT, I need to press File, Open, then navigate to the folder which contains the Topos database that I was just using. So that's actually in the standard Topos database, which is in the C drive. Public users, public documents, ToposPro, kit. Then I can filter by CGD, and that narrows down the files I need to look for. So the database I just used was called Zeolite. So I'll just open that one. You can see it says find tiling by name, pattern, or number. So if I press 1, it'll open the first tiling, which if you can see in the corner there is AEI. You can see it's got 3 tilings, so this is number 1 of 3. We can then go to tiling, press next, or press N on the keyboard, and it'll go to CHA, which is our second one. Then we can press next again, and it'll go to LTA. So that's the 3 structures we read in. So 3DT has the same sort of controls as most visualization software does. If you left click with your mouse, you can rotate the structure around. If you use your middle mouse button or alt click, you can move the structure around, translating it. Or you can also zoom in and out by using the mouse wheel or using your 2 fingers on your trackpad. Right-clicking a tile face will open a menu which lets you add or remove tiles. So if I say add tile, it will add the next tile that would be connected through that face. Or I can do remove tile. You can also right-click and say remove tile class, which will remove all of the tiles of the same type. So if I add a few more tiles back in, you can also recolor tiles by right-clicking. So you can say recolor individual tiles. So that will only color the one that I've just clicked. Let's change that to blue. Or you can right-click and say recolor tile class, and that will actually recolor all tiles with the same type. As you can see, that's colored all of the same T-top cages. There are some other options when you right-click where you can remove certain facets in tiles as well. So if I say hide facet class, it'll just remove that facet that I had selected from the tile, and all the ones that are related by symmetry too. So if I click show all facets in the tile, they'll reappear. You can also recolor certain facet classes as well. And you can add the facet for the next tile over. There are a lot of options in the controls over here where you can change how your structure looks. You can make things look smoother. You can change the width of the edges on the tiles and so on. You can also change the size of the tiles. So you'll actually shrink them. You can add in the unit cell or remove the unit cell. And you can do things like control how the net will be displayed, or also how the lights will be displayed. So I mentioned the net when I was talking about the controls, and that's something that you can actually add on top of your tiling here. So if I say net, update net, it will actually add the net on top of the tiles that I've drawn. So I can actually edit that net as well if I want. So I can make the edges thinner, make the nodes thicker. And then each time I add a new tile, I can then say update net, and it will incorporate that tile into the net. You can also say grow net, and that'll add the next connection on for each of these nodes. You can also right click each of the nodes and the edges to customize how you want the net to look. So I can remove the edges, I can remove nodes, and so on. So 3DT is quite powerful for making images for your reports if you want to show a tiling for a framework. But whenever you reload a tiling, it loses all the colors that you've set and it'll remove the net. So if you want to save all the stuff that you've done, you can actually press File and you can save the scene. And that will save it as a GSL file that you can then reopen later. You can also view along certain principal directions. So you can view along X, Y, and Z, or you can view along certain Miller indices. You can also view along user-defined indices. If I say I want to view along 1, 1, 1, it will then rotate the camera to view along 1, 1, 1. So once you're happy with what's displayed on the screen, you want to save an image. The way you do that is by pressing File, Ray Traced Image. So ray traced images are really high quality images, so they take a bit of time to render. You can control the dimensions of your image here, but I'll start the saving process now. A window appears showing all the pixels being filled in, and it'll slowly render your image. Now that the image processing is complete, I can go to my desktop and find the file that I just generated. So this test.png. And you can use this as you would any other image in your reports. So that was just a crash course on how to use 3DT. There are a lot more options in there that I didn't cover, but that's the easiest way to generate nice images for presentations and reports.